Get ready.
Hello, everyone. My guest today went to film school at UC Santa Cruz with no intention of making video games. He was competing in gaming tournaments after graduation when a game distributor spotted him and offered him a QA job. From there, he borrowed money from family, quit everything, flew to South Korea alone to convince a studio to let him publish a game nobody in America have heard of, self-published it with no digital distribution, built the retail pipeline himself, and watched it become the #1 PSP seller in South Korea. Today, he runs PM Studios, a 3-armed operation covering development, publishing, and physical distribution that ships around 50 games a year, including the North American physical release of Black Myth Wukong, which likely saved some retailers' holiday seasons in 2024. He also tragically had his massive game collection stolen out from under him and is dreaming of building a museum. His name is Michael Yum. Michael, welcome to Replay.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my friend. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you so much. We have a lot to talk about. And before we get to PM Studios and kind of the amazing company you've built, I really thought it would be fun to take some time, kind of start at the beginning and hear your origin story. Sure. I know you went to UC Santa Cruz to study film, but you also said games have been part of your life as long as you can remember. So where does that start for you?
So I guess it starts ever since I was a little kid. I was always obsessed with video games. My parents, very rare for parents to let their kids play that many video games. They knew I loved it so much. My dad even bought me an arcade machine when I was 6, a Galaga machine. And again, before the Nintendo even came out. And so I've been super fortunate. They saw how much I loved it. And even as my brother was getting into it too, they wanted to send him to game school. And really, for me, there was no such thing back then. And so as much as I loved games and I always dreamt of being part of the game industry, I just never thought I could be a part of it. I didn't know much of it. I always thought everything was coming out of Japan and an American kid, so I didn't think I could ever make a video game. So I decided to go and, pursue my career in film. And I tried to make a lot of movies and be a part of a lot of movies. I was even in a TV show called Even Stevens as a character named Muke. But always my heart has been in video games. And so I used to at least compete in some smaller local tournaments and even bigger ones. And I won a lot of them. And then I got a job at EB Games, which before it was GameStop, and started to meet a lot of gaming people there. As like, the guy who created Oddworld would come in and a lot
Lorne
of
Lanning.
Yeah. And, I would always be so fascinated by it. And then one day I got introduced to a distribution company and they did have a publishing division and asked if I wanted to work there. So as much as I wanted to continue making movies, I decided to take that next step and join this company called Tomo and UFO Interactive.
I wanted to take a step back. You were clearly, a gamer, true from the, from far back as you can remember. What are some of your first memories playing games, and what games were you playing? Where did you cut your teeth?
I'd probably say I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese a lot and 7-Elevens, and there was a lot of arcades and shopping malls and
Street Fighter.
Oh, it was way before Street Fighter. So it was in the 80s. The game I think I first fell in love was Kung Fu Master.
Oh God, that's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was my favorite game, and I used to always want to play that game. And then again, there wasn't really Street Fighter yet. I did play Final Fight as a kid, Ghost and Goblins,
Yeah.
1942, a lot of great Capcom games.
Strider,
Oh
Willow.
yeah, I love Strider.
So
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
uh, Sega games and Punch
How did your
Out.
dad end up bringing home a Galaga machine? Like, how did that
So
come about?
again, I love video games, and my dad owned a car dealership. And one day he brought him a big van, and then he's like, "Hey, go check out the van." And then I opened it up, and there's a arcade machine. It wasn't like the full tall one, but like the bar ones, where it's like
Like
flat a little bit lower, and then you can play on each side of it, first player,
the
second.
cocktail table.
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he got me one of those. And I was like, "Oh my god!" And
Yeah.
so we would play that Galaga like all the time. And then later, I remember I got a new upgrade for it, and I eventually had Pac-Man too.
Amazing.
And then, yeah, everybody in the '80s saw the NES commercial when it was first coming out, and then I saw that thing and I wanted it so bad. So he sent my cousin to take me out to a store and buy an early version of the NES. And so I bought, I still have it, the deluxe edition with Gyromite and Duck Hunt. And that was it. And, I was, again, really lucky. I
Oh,
grew up with great parents. And my dad would take me to buy a game every week. And so I started my collection then.
it's
And
crazy.
I think I had OCD as a kid too, and so I was one of the few kids who saved the box and the
Yeah.
manual and always
Yeah.
put it back in and try to keep it, complete and clean. Yeah.
That's so crazy. And, you clearly paid it forward for yourself. That OCD worked out for you. And
Yeah.
you were obviously the cool kid on the block by far. I'm sure everybody was at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not too many kids had it. Some had like Master System, and we'd be all
Mhm.
fascinated to, yeah, like check the difference between it. Or there was
Yeah.
always a war even back then, which one was better. And so,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
Super cool. And then, so talk about competing in tournaments. What were you
oh,
playing? What was that like? Yeah. And then how do you end up being scouted by, like, was it at the tournament that you got scouted by Tomo?
yeah. So actually, I didn't. I don't think people knew you could get really good at video games back then, right?
Yeah.
But I went to Korea one time, and I just couldn't believe these kids at the arcade and the way they played video games. It was
Yeah.
like,
Hardcore.
again, they were ahead of esports, right? And so if you look at Final Fight, right, most people back here were playing Final Fight, just dumping quarters in and beating, trying to survive. But I
Yeah.
go to Korea and I see these kids playing Final Fight, doing like this exploit where you punch, punch, turn back, punch, and then punch, punch. And so by doing that, it would give you an infinite combo loop. And so these guys would be able to beat the game with a single quarter. And
It's amazing.
so I
Yeah.
learned that, and I kind of went back to the States and I was doing that. And that's when like all the kids started realizing like, oh my God, like there's like a strategy to this. Like you can beat the games with a quarter. And so I think I got obsessed with trying to be really good at games and learning that. And of course, Street Fighter. Well, there was Karate Champ, and then Street Fighter One, and
Mhm.
Street Fighter One was impossible to do the moves, and
Oh,
Street
God.
Fighter Two came out, and I think every kid and every gamer in America at that time was so good or like really into Street Fighter, and I used to play that game a lot too.
Yeah.
And I got really good at it. I wouldn't say I was like the best, but I was probably one of the top guys around the region. And I was only like 10 or 11, so like I couldn't drive somewhere else to play against other kids, and so I would be the best like at my location.
Yeah.
Uh, it just happens to be that the area I grew up with had really competitive arcade scene. And so and there's more to that story I found out later I didn't even know about, but it was like in the UCLA area. And so again, with college kids that could be better at games, and the Westwood arcade, and there was a lot of really really good players there. And I started to meet a lot of these guys and get really good at it, and practice, and then drive to places like Sunnyvale Golfland or Southern
Mm-hmm.
Hills
Yeah.
Golfland, and
Yep.
meet these other guys who were supposedly the best, and play there. And again, I went to film school in Santa Cruz, and around there was one of the most legendary arcades ever. So I would check that place out and go play like on the weekends and stuff. And then after I finished school, everybody knew I was into video games, but I didn't think I could make a video game, right? And so I just wanted to make movies, and I started like acting in movies and stuff, trying to find any work I can. It was really tough.
Yeah.
But then I
It's
I
a
did
business.
land a job, yeah, at EB Games in the Beverly Center Mall. And I said it before, but a lot of like game developers would come there and buy their copies of games, and then one said, "You like games so much, right?" And so a lot of the customers would only come in to buy games like when I was working there, so because I would talk to them about it and stuff, and working there, you get to play all the games. That was
Yeah.
like kind of like the
Yeah.
benefit. So I can tell them like the truth, like if I liked it or not. And then said, "Hey, there's a game company looking for a tester, right? And to bring somebody in, and would you be interested in working there?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." So I decided to take that job, and then I go there and start testing out games and learning how to make games, and I think I produced over like 30 games there.
It's
Yeah.
insane. I think I've seen a quote where you said you've learned more about the retail supply chain
Hmm.
at UFO Interactive slash
Hmm.
Tomo than anywhere else. What did that job actually teach you that you probably couldn't have learned anywhere else?
I I'd say it was a great company
Yeah.
because oh, actually I guess every company back then didn't have digital.
Right.
So I was very fortunate to work at a company that was developing games, like publishing games, and then also self-distributing games and
Yeah.
distributing
Yeah.
games for other companies. So I got to kind of see like what it took to put the games out into retail,
Yeah.
and like all the steps and meeting different buyers and sellers and sales agents, and really that's what it was. It was like relationships with having with first party platforms, and then
Hmm.
also like the retailers to get your game into the market. um, but yeah, working there, there was really only three of us, and two of them were artists, and there was like a head producer. But the three of us kind of like, yeah, the artist and me did all the other work. So I got to see what it took to test the game, choose the game, like create the package and make
Yeah.
mock-ups and show it to retailers, and they tell us what they want, and then finalize a design to put in there, and learn how to manufacture it and ship it, and yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Like getting to wear all those hats.
Mhm.
Really, see kind of like everything from like development all the way through to launch to distribution, sales. I mean, that's incredible. Retail, it's invaluable for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, moving on, like at some point, you borrowed money from your family, you
Mhm.
quit your job and decided to make your own game, right?
Yep.
It's a DJ rhythm game.
Hmm.
When you had no publisher, no distribution,
Hmm.
which is crazy. So walk me through that decision. What made you think that was a reasonable bet?
So, my family is kind of a lot of entrepreneurs, right?
Yeah.
And my cousin's best friend was an entrepreneur too, and I used to hang out with them, and they're like, you are making so many games and doing this, like, why don't you try it for yourself? And I was like, I don't know how, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so he's like, well, just sit there and come up with a plan. And I actually owe my cousin's best friend a lot because he
Mm,
really pushed me into doing it. And he's like, Hey, just write a plan. Like,
yeah.
how much money would you need? And like, what would you do? And what's the first game? And like, how are you going to release it to make that money back, right? So I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that. And then I showed it to my cousin, Peter, and he was like, I think this is a really good plan. I was like, yeah, so I've done all these steps before. Uh, he's like, so if you just had the money, you would be able to do all these things and do it. And I was like, yeah, but the hardest part is going to be making a really good game that people
Mm,
liked. And so, and he's like, but you know so much about games, so I would trust your judgment on that. And I was like, yeah, I think I can do it. And so uh, that's what happened, and that's the PM. Most people don't know it, but it stood for Peter and Mike.
it's amazing.
We called it Playmakers Studio, but the true meaning was Peter and Mike. And so
Love that.
he loaned me money, and I decided to find a development team to try to make a game. And there was a team, really, rhythm games kind of all came out of Asia at the time.
Yeah.
It was kind of an arcade scene still.
Yep. B
And I found
Mani.
yeah, it was all a lot of Konami, Bimani style stuff.
Bimani. Yeah.
And there was a few. I didn't speak Japanese, so I couldn't go to Japan. And but there in Korea, there was still a development scene for arcade games. And I reached out to a team and said, "Can I come meet with you guys?" And they were only doing arcade games at the time in
Mm,
PC. And
hmm.
so I said, like, I have an idea to try to do this on PlayStation, and I would be able to help distribute it and figure things out. And yeah, and so I flew out and I convinced these guys to work with me and help make this game. Um, and then, of course, I didn't have a publishing license,
Yeah.
so
Right. You
so
weren't a third party developer,
yeah.
right? Or publisher.
It,
Yeah.
very different back then.
Yep.
It was a very closed system. You want to work with PlayStation, Nintendo, or Microsoft, like you needed to kind of be a big company
Hmm.
and prove, like, have financial backing and
Yeah. They
prove
wouldn't
to
send you kits, right? You couldn't
yeah, they
get
would
the.
never send you the
Yeah.
kits. And
Yep.
again, back then, like, you needed to burn cartridges and ROMs and have all the access to do that to make test software. And like, it was all
Yeah.
VHS too. So like, even things like ESRB had to be done on VHS tapes.
Yep.
And how do you record all this? And like,
Yeah.
but yeah, and so I thought, okay, I can do this, but I need a publisher's help still. And so after we did it, I pitched it to everybody, but nobody would pick it up.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of laughed at us. A Korean music game, like nobody's gonna buy that here. And
Right.
yeah, so I got turned down by everyone. Um, and I guess I really had no choice, either give up or figure it out. And so I started to call all the distributors myself, and then I contacted Nintendo. So nobody really knows this, but I tried Nintendo first
Oh,
for
interesting.
DJMax.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I worked a lot with Nintendo before, so I thought they would help
Yeah.
me
You
get
had
the
a
license.
relationship. You could at least get a foot in the door.
Yeah, but they turned me
Yeah.
down. And
Yeah.
so I thought that was the end of PM Studios. And then my cousin's friend Richard was like, "Are you just gonna give up?" And I was like, "Well, we designed it for a touch screen and the DS." And he's like, "Then just work with PlayStation
Right.
and change the design of the game." I was like,
PSP.
"Yeah." And
Yeah.
I was like, "How?" And then Sony's so big, they would never give me the license. And so I reached out to them, and I just got very lucky. Two guys there were like, "This is my first week here, and I'm going to help you get this license, man." And so I was like, "Oh yes!" And then so I drove up to San Francisco, or San Mateo,
Yep.
met with these guys, and they pushed and pushed and pushed Sony to get me that license. And then I got the PSP license, and then
It's amazing.
got my first kit, and that was it. And changed some of the design to make it for the PSP. And very, very lucky. And PSP wasn't doing too well,
Yeah.
right? And Nintendo
Right.
DS was like kind of killing it, and so I think there was good timing there. Like they didn't have enough good games, right? And they were kind of losing out, and so I just kept thinking, if I just try to make the best game on this, like we can have a chance, and so we did.
Well,
And yeah,
I was going to say you're probably too humble to say this, but I know from research that DJMax Fever became the number one PSP seller, specifically in South Korea, but I'm sure it sold well
yeah,
everywhere, next to Monster Hunter, which is huge.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was really big, and after that, that was kind of it. Like everybody was waiting for the sequels and like what this team was going to do next. And it's funny that we decided to do an arcade game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so my partner had a philosophy that because I actually wanted to try to do an Xbox game, and we had he had a philosophy that like we can be a small guy in a big ocean, or we
Yep.
can be the biggest guy in the smallest like pond, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we're like, let's try arcade. And then but then everybody's like, no, but it's too much risk. So we're like, okay, we'll try arcade and a sequel on the PSP and the PC game. And so
Yeah.
we decided to make like three versions and like three completely different games. And it was called the Metro Project. So
Mm-hmm.
a DJ Max game for the PSP, a DJ Max game for PC, and a DJ Max game for the arcade. Um, and then that's when everything blew up.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, it really worked.
It's amazing. How do you go from that? Well, first of all, I mean, the one thing I wanted to ask about your success is what did that feel like? Like after all that, that kind of the work that the people turning you down, almost giving up,
Mhm.
but then, pivoting. What did it feel like to kind of like when everything hit?
So, actually, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
makes
think I was
sense.
just really happy that we finished it.
Yeah.
And then like everybody was able to make their money, and I think it happened so fast. All we were thinking about was what was next, and like how am I gonna top that? And so yeah, the DJ Max team went from like 5 to 15 to 30
It's
to like
amazing.
100. Yeah, and so, but at this time now, I was worried like because the overhead was so high.
Yeah.
Like I gotta like how am I gonna
Got
keep
to pay
up?
the bills.
Yeah, and I was really scared about money all the time now,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I think we kept getting big too fast.
Is that
And
is that when Barbie came into the picture?
no, so there's actually more to this. I think legally I'm not supposed to say too much detail about it, but there was a lawsuit.
Oh
And
God.
so, yeah, when a game gets too big, I think
Yeah.
people start
Yeah.
suing, and
Right.
it's out there. But Guitar Hero, Rock Band,
Right. Right. Right.
Konami,
Sure.
us, like everybody was getting sued, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
artists were like, "Hey, we want more money," and they started suing, and so like, there was a big lawsuit. And then still in my 20s, I started to get so stressed out and worry even more. And then I actually lost everything.
Hmm.
So, so I hit rock bottom. I kind of lost everything that I built. And I was really, really struggling at that time. And I had like really bad depression, and I at the started to wonder what I was going to do. And then I met an agent through CAA,
Mm-hmm.
and then they convinced me that I could kind of bounce back, and so I did try again, and so I started to take my savings and try to make a new game, and I got screwed again.
Oh
And
gosh.
so yeah, and so because of the lawsuits and everything that happened, a lot of the big companies didn't want to take me on or
Mm.
publish our game because they were afraid that it could linger into this. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I finished making these games, and hopefully one day I can show people.
Wow.
Yeah, I finished it
Yeah.
all and made 3 games with all my savings, and I couldn't release it. And then that's when I hit rock bottom again. It's not like I ever bounced back, but I was
Yeah.
like even going deeper down,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
started begging everybody for help. And so I throughout the years I met a lot of other companies and friends,
Yeah.
and I've never raised money. I just only borrowed money from my cousin, and so and then it was at a point where he couldn't keep paying for it, or
Yeah.
he's doing his own thing, and so I didn't know what to do, and my friend introduced me to work for hire. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was, but he's like, hey, you can make games and work for other companies and get paid. And so I was like, I'll do anything for
Right.
money, right? And
Yeah.
so my team, I'm still keeping them, and they're like, just do anything, Mike. And so I begged everybody for work, and I stumbled upon Mattel, and I was working on a Pictionary game.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Yeah.
I pitched myself to do a Pictionary game, uh, and it got canceled again. And they felt so bad, and so they said, like, we've seen what you can do. You want to try Barbie? And I was like, I'll do anything. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Give me
So
Barbie.
yeah, I was like, and nobody wants to. A gamer doesn't want to make a Barbie game, not to knock them down, right? But
Right.
it
No, I
wasn't
get
what I
it.
wanted to make.
Yeah.
But it was working. I
Mm-hmm.
was making good Barbie games for them. They were really happy, and I got introduced to other companies to do other work for hire, and
Yeah.
I saved that money, and I decided to reboot DJ Max. Again, I wasn't allowed to touch DJ Max, and I've learned about patents and what I can and cannot do. So when the Vita came out, worked with Sony to reboot a successor to it,
Yeah.
and it was called Super Beat Sonic. And
Yep.
this game took off too, and I
Yeah.
did really well with it. Yeah.
That you co-developed it with Neurojoy?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so so Neurojoy was a reboot of some Pentavision and PM team that
That's
I
amazing.
kind of
Yeah.
yeah we put
So
together.
old home.
Uh, and we wanted to kind of try to do it again. And so I did make this, and it's crazy. Lot of people know about it, but some of these guys went off to make PUBG
Yeah.
and yeah, a lot of these other games that blew up in Korea, and so everybody was like really doing well. But I kind of stuck to it, and I did my rhythm games, and I decided to do like Super Beat, and uh, yeah, that was my next step.
That's amazing. Um, let's talk about what you have now, right? Because PM
Mhm,
Studios, but
sure.
today it's a three-armed operation, right? You're a developer, a publisher, and also, white label physical distributor. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yep.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have about 60 people shipping around 50 games a year.
We have close to 60 people
Yeah, it's
shipping
amazing.
over 100 games a year
Oh
now.
my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think most people don't know you're
Mhm.
behind a lot of what they see on store shelves.
Yep.
Um, I would love to dig in a little bit about, the physical side of things.
Sure.
That's a really interesting topic to me. I'm old. I love physical media. I struggle. I struggle with digital ownership or the lack of ownership with having titles, on my hard drive that can be taken any moment. So I think we could definitely talk about that. But also, I was interested a little bit more. There's two topics: the kind of the white label side of things that means developers get kind of that front of the box credit, and
Mm-hmm.
you guys work behind the scenes. Like, is that how do you
Yep.
feel about that? Is that by design?
Well, I'll tell you a little bit before we get to that was
Yeah.
basically after I did the Super Beat game, and it was on the Vita, right?
Yep.
And again, Vita was still and very cartridge heavy, right? And we were still in
Yeah.
like the physical era. Um, uh, the consoles were still very closed off and regional. So after I did this, like I had a lot of other rhythm game friends that couldn't get their game published,
Oh,
or
interesting.
yeah, they
Yeah.
wanted a physical version of it. And again, just because you had a North American Vita game didn't mean you could have a European Vita game at the time, right?
Right. Yep.
And digital was still very different. So I started to help them, and then they started to tell their friends, and so I did a lot of rhythm games, and then but it led to like RPGs and racing games, and a lot of games from Korea and China. So because everybody was always kind of focused on North America, Europe, and Japan for the development scene, and I just happened to be in Korea and China to do a lot of development and releases over there. I met a lot of indies and I started to help them, and they kind of all told each other. And
Mm.
again, they were my friends, and so like
Yeah.
my goal was just to help them release the game and not necessarily like build a company around it, right?
Yeah.
So I started to do that, and it started to really, really, really take off. And uh, again, I'm a developer, right? I create games and I publish it, and so and I've been through like at this time maybe 10 years of ups and downs and struggles, and so I
Yeah.
know what it feels like for someone who wants to make a game or made a game and they can't get it out there. So again, I felt they deserved the credit. So I always thought a game is made by you, the developer, not like the publishing company a lot of the times. And so it did bother me. Like
Yeah.
when I was with CA, like the initiative at the time was like EA didn't make the game. This other company made the game, right? But yet
Yeah.
nobody knows that they made the game. Everybody thinks EA made the game, right? And so
Hmm.
yeah, I just wanted to put their logo on and try to help promote their brand, and it worked because they appreciate that, and
Yeah.
so because
Absolutely.
they appreciate that, like I'm like an extension of their team, not like a company that was just licensing it and doing it as a business. Like I try to be a partner, and so I think once they experience that they want to come back to me for the next one and the next one, and then they all have friends, and when they tell their friends and they see what I've done for them, uh, they all want to be a part of this and they want to build their company.
Yeah.
So I had, my business was to like help other companies build their companies up, and then I could be a part of all these games doing it. If I was kind of just like exploiting them or licensing it, it would just be a business and another thing. And there's a lot of companies that I'm not
Right.
trying to put them down, but that's their business model. So did it very differently. Sometimes, yeah, when the game blows up and nobody knows that we did it, of course it sucks and sad. But they're good people, so they would actually tell people, actually, Mike and this company really helped us get there. And so that's why I think the word of mouth kept spreading. And so like I kept getting bigger and bigger every year because like through, to the public eye, they don't know us, but
Yeah.
I guess behind the scenes in the industry, everybody did know about us now. Um, and yeah, and then people would say you deserve more credit, and so they'd say we'd like to put your logo on, and I was like, that's great. And I didn't think we had like a big brand or anything, so like if I put it on, like I didn't think people really cared. Nobody knows. Like if I ask 100 people out there, do you know which company released this? Like 99.9 would say, I actually don't know the company's name. And so yeah, to me, it was always about the game. And then the
Yeah.
person who made the game was next. And then uh, whatever credit I got, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's lovely. I mean, this just goes to speak to the kind human being that you are, and so ethical and the way you think about business. And I think every model has a path, right? Yours is just different, but I hope PM. Well, maybe it's fine that it doesn't have like the brand recognition like EA or whatever, but I do hope even this silly podcast that we're doing gives more people a little insight into what the company does and the games it produces and distributes. There's some amazing stuff there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Honestly, and what's really cool for me is there is this renaissance right now with Asian games in China. I kind of feel like Black Myth might have like been like the big catalyst tipping point, the one that kind of, I mean, there were plenty of amazing games coming out of China and Asia, but this one seemed to like get a lot of recognition at the right time, because it
Yeah.
was so quality, and Souls likes are so big. And um, you know I would love to hear that story if you want to
Sure,
share
sure.
more, like how that
Yeah.
how you ended up being the distributor for it from the physical perspective.
So, again, I was helping a lot of Asian devs, and one game after another. There's so many games out there that people think it's a Western developed game, but it's actually not. A lot
Yeah,
of it was developed in China, and just again because the publisher's name is on it, like everybody's just assuming.
right.
But I was a part of a lot of games, and one after another, like I kept meeting this group. I met Tencent, and I
Mm,
started to publish indie Tencent games. And when you work with Tencent, like you kind of meet everybody in China, right?
yeah,
And so,
yeah, so big.
yeah, and I'd say I can almost say like 90% or more of all the developers out there have at one point come from Tencent, right?
Mm,
So I work with like
yeah,
HoYoverse or this company like
yeah,
NetEase or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I was a ex Tencent guy," and so yeah, being part of that connection, like I got to meet a lot of devs, right? And so again, before even Black Myth, I was working with HoYoverse on Honkai Star
hmm,
Rail. Nobody really knew yet, but everybody was telling each other about us and what I was doing for them, and I got to meet the game science team like really early, and I loved the idea of the game. Nobody was really paying attention to that game at that time yet, right? And
yeah,
so,
yeah,
like, yeah, I kind of wasn't like trying to jump in after the success of the game. They knew of me, and I just kept telling them, "Hey, I can help you guys do this and this with the game." And believe it or not, like, they didn't really care about physical or
yeah.
even PlayStation. They were really just thinking about probably
PC.
PC and
Yeah.
just making the best game that they can, right?
Yep.
And so it was a thing that it took over a year, maybe 2 years of me talking to them and begging them, and finally uh, they they saw the plan, and I said, "This is what I can do for you," and they told me that we'd like to work with you on this, and so
Amazing.
I was really happy. Again, before the game even came out, like to work on packaging and posters and all this stuff. Like we worked really, really hard because they knew that they had to come out swinging and do the best game possible. So we just that team, our team, like none of us slept to make it perfect and
Can
really like
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. After it
Yeah.
came out, like, yeah. And like you said, most people don't know about us, and it's of course I wanted my name in it and stuff like that, right? But
Yeah.
they were the ones that said, you can put your logo on the package. You can put your logo on the poster. I
It's
never asked
amazing.
to do
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
That's lovely.
and
Yeah.
when they said that, I was like, "Oh, thank you."
Yeah.
Like, that would be great. And they're like, "Yeah." And they're just super nice guys, right? And they weren't trying to take the credit for themselves. They were really humble and appreciative of all their partners and fans and everyone that has supported them. And when they let me do that, then everybody did find out it was us. And then really, like, one by one, like even Hoyoverse was like, go ahead and put it on there, and like these other guys. And so slowly, like, I just say, hey, your logos should be prominent, right? And I'll just put it in the back or something. And but yeah, everybody started to find out, and yeah, it was awesome.
That's amazing. And, I think that kind of leads into talking about physical media
Mhm.
really well. And I know I've heard you have like a genuinely, what I would say is a counterintuitive argument about physical media, that retail is actually less crowded than digital right now, which is
Mhm.
clearly true, not more. So I'd love to hear your thinking about that.
Yeah. I again, I didn't do this thinking that digital would get this big at one point, or
Yeah.
the market
Right.
would shift this way. I did it because I am a gamer and I love games, and this was the original way of doing the business, right? And so I think in the past, like, 7 years, as the market shifted, uh all the new publishers that came out, they didn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They're focused on digital, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was jumping into this space and chasing, all the dreams and stuff. And
Mhm.
so obviously they all went digital. But because I stuck with it and I was kind of like helping everybody else, like, what we did notice was the amount of games coming out physically was shrinking.
Yep.
So the market was still there, but my competition was like kind of not there. And so again, like, I didn't think about it all, and I was just helping the companies do it. But they were all like, so the physical actually outsold the digital.
Yeah.
And I was like, it did? And they're
That's
like,
crazy.
you actually saved us. And so I was like, that's great, right? And
Yeah.
then yeah, and I try to explain to people, like, hey, it's like a partnership. The retailers want to make money too, right? So like they give you that shelf space hoping to
Yeah.
sell it. And like, whereas if you're kind of like on the digital marketplace, they don't care really.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't.
You're,
So you just
these
another game.
games are drowning, right? Like they're
Yeah.
just every day there's another 1,000 that get released.
Mhm. So hey,
Yeah.
guess what? Like all these games came out, and you're just like all fighting there for it. Whereas like
Mhm.
in this other space, you have a bunch of partners out there that are taking risk with you,
They're
because they're
incentivized
buying
to
your
sell it.
games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they really want to sell it, right? And
Yeah.
so like you have all this extra, like, visibility on your title.
Yeah.
And so again, 7 years of this, and one by one, people telling us that like, it really helped them, and actually, it's outperforming the digital, and uh, it's become a big thing for us now. So a lot of bigger companies still, but I guess like if you look at AAA guys, I just saw a report from Capcom where they said 93% of
Yeah.
their sales were digital
Digital. Saw that.
versus the physical, right? So for those guys, yes, like it makes more sense to focus that way because they're really big public companies, and this is a small thing for them. So you see them kind of pulling out. You
Yeah.
see all the new guys don't know how to do it, so they again aren't even there, and there's only a few of us that have stuck it out. So I uh, kind of got a good hold of putting games out there, having the right partners help support your games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely something to be said. I mean, we'll see what happens with the next generation of gamers who probably don't remember physical at this
Hmm.
point. Um, but there are companies out there that are doing well in the physical space, like Limited Run, Fan Gamer. So it's I for one, like I said, I much prefer to have a not a cartridge, a disc,
Yep.
or a package on my shelf that I can probably display. It's tangible. I can feel it. I'll be sad when they're completely gone, but I'm glad, that there is still a model out there that works. It makes sense. I'm
Hmm.
curious, like, is it for the studios that are making money on physical, where is that? Is that like at the local stores like the GameStop still, or is this more at, because I
Oh,
mean, you go into a Target or even a Best Buy now, and like their
hmm.
video game sections have dried up to almost like it's really sad to see.
It is.
Or is it like through Amazon, through like direct mail type of stuff?
So I I say like 3 years ago it was still very healthy.
Yeah,
2 years ago it was starting to be a little bit scarier, right? Like yeah, your Best Buys aren't carrying as much anymore, and
yeah,
GameStop isn't as much anymore either. Uh, and there's still a lot of online retailers. So Amazon is really big.
yeah,
So Amazon has taken a lot of the market share, but
yep,
there's again lots of mom and pop stores. And I don't know. Sometimes I don't even understand how these guys are buying so many of the units. And I keep asking them, and they told me they put it in arcades, like Dave and
yeah,
Buster's Redemptions, like the crane machines, like
yeah,
so
yeah,
things places I haven't even heard of. But even like smaller markets and bargain bins and stuff like that. So there's a lot of weird places where games are still being sold, maybe airports and stuff like that, and then a lot of online retailers now.
yeah,
So a
yeah.
lot of them showed up. So there's a bunch of sites that sell, the collectibles market is really big, right? And
It
so like
is. Yeah.
people are buying toys and
Yeah.
plushies and art books, and those guys sell a lot of copies of the games too.
I
And
love
then the
it.
mom and pops are fighting, yeah, to
Yeah.
fight. So.
We used to publish uh, strategy guides, official strategy guides
Mhm.
back in the day. And I remember even, I mean, print was a thing back then, but the mom and pop stores would take thousands of them. And I'd be like,
Yeah.
what do you, how, like, where are these going? But they would always order more. They were like, we need
Mhm.
another thousand of whatever, it's crazy. So that's like, they're kind of like the backbone, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
So let's take a moment and talk. I don't want to talk about something that's heartbreaking, but it's really interesting story,
mhm.
and maybe a cautionary tale. Um, so hopefully you'll indulge me and you'll be okay talking about it.
Sure.
But we've talked about, and I'm not sure how much publicly you've talked about. Like, you have an insane collection. Like, you
Mhm.
are a true collector. And preservationist, historical, like you have like so many complete sets of games and paraphernalia and ephemera, all of the gaming stuff going, way back to current gen. And I would love to talk more about that.
Yep.
But I also, you've shared that, back in November of 2025, someone broke into a secure vault. Well, I guess it wasn't that secure. Um,
Mhm.
and stole, was it the entire collection?
Yeah. So I've dedicated
Yeah.
my life to collecting every game ever made,
Yes.
and again, it's a pretty impressive collection when I think about it. And I've met a lot of industry people for them to donate stuff to me too.
Yeah.
And I hunted a lot of these down myself, and I was working on trying to build a museum because I thought it shouldn't belong to me. It should belong to kind of the industry. And what am I going to do looking at this stuff all day, right? Like, I've already seen it enough. Like, I kind of wish other people can see it now too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, because of that, I was working on trying to build this museum out. And so I started to store stuff and pack things up and archive it. And then I did put it somewhere. And super unfortunate. I don't know if I was targeted or not. I do know these people, and they could even be watching it, right? But I was very unlucky, and they stumbled upon everything, and they stole all of it. So I was in the middle of kind of like archiving it, and I'd
Mhm.
say they took maybe like 30% of it. Yeah.
Okay.
So they took 30% of it, and I was kind of smart enough to split everything out and not keep it in the same place. And so
Yeah.
and depending on like the rarity of it and stuff like that, more secure places. And so yeah, they took in one location, they took like everything. So it was like 30% of the collection. And I got really lucky. Uh, that day they were trying to sell it back. A store bought it, and then the
But
owner,
the entire
well,
everything, or
they
just were they
couldn't carry it all.
piecemealing it?
It was just too much.
Yeah.
Like, it would have taken, I think, like 30 minivans or so at least,
Wow.
right?
That's
More,
insane. Yeah.
or like U-Hauls, yeah. And then
Yeah.
so they were just bringing in like batches of it at a time, and then they traded it in. And then
Mm.
one person saw it and said, this is not normal for anybody to have. And then the person came up with a story that it was their uncles, and but the guy was like, there's no way, like, this community is too small, everybody
Yeah.
knows each other, like,
Yeah.
who's your uncle? And so but the person knew that it was mine. So there's only one person crazy enough to have
Yeah.
collected all of this in this exact same order.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of collectors out there, and I know
Yeah.
most of them,
Sure.
but I was obsessed over variants too. So,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I bought every version of every game that came out. Like, a company would move their address, and just their address was different on the box, and I would hunt that version of the game down.
You are
Um,
a true completionist.
yeah, yeah. So when I think like the hardcore collectors see something like that, they know there's only a
Yeah.
few of us that
Right.
are
Yeah.
that crazy enough to do that. And so he called me, and then I was working on platinuming Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection that day, and then he's
You
like,
remember that the exact moment in
yeah,
time. Yeah,
because I did get the
clearly.
platinum that night too.
Okay.
And he sent me a picture. He goes, "Is this your stuff?" And I was like, "Oh my god!" And so I called everybody. We went there, and it was all gone. So I called police, and then amazing. Like, the next day, we planted stings everywhere.
Yeah.
And so one by one, they just kept coming in, and this place and that place, and stealing this, trying to trade it in, and I can't believe, like, batches of games at every store, and we
Yeah.
got it all back.
That's amazing. Literally, so you clearly were smart enough to have some sort of crazy Excel sheet that had
Mhm.
everything on it listed. So you were able to get every single piece back.
I got like 99.9% of it back.
Wow.
I
That's
was missing
amazing.
three things. Yeah, and then again, they weren't rare. It just
Yeah.
I knew that those three were in a container together too,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it probably just got lost in transit, or it could be at the
Sure.
police station still. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Wow. So what happened to these people?
So the leader, it's a female, and she just kept getting away, state to state, and
Oh my
hunting
God.
them
She went on the
down.
run?
Yeah, and trying to sell it in different states, because obviously they realized that we were onto them, right? And so, but every state, like the community just kind of got together,
Yeah.
like even like Limited Run Josh and like these
Yeah.
guys, right? Like we're telling people that like, hey, if anything shows up, let us know, right? And so yeah, they kept showing up everywhere, and they would call us, and we would catch them every place. And I don't know how. So the police seized a bunch of vehicles too, and they were all inside these vehicles, and
Wow.
their their houses and stuff like that. Um, and so I didn't get to see like all that part, but they
Yeah.
kept calling me, and I would keep going to the police stations and identifying the stuff, uh, and we just it took 3 months.
Mm.
Yeah, 3 months of of tracking them down, and every week some of them would get away and go there, catching them, and then finally the last one turned herself in.
Oh, wow.
Uh, yeah, because we had a warrant for her arrest and everything. And I was like, honestly, no hard feelings. I
Yeah.
won't do anything. I just want my stuff back, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Sure.
like not the money anymore, but it's really like that stuff was part of all these other people's like history. And
Yeah.
so like
Yeah.
if yeah, if it gets damaged or lost, that would
Yeah.
be very, very tragic, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
like I
Yeah.
just want to get it back because those
Yeah.
people trusted me to hold on to some of that stuff, and then like
Sure.
yeah, I
Yeah.
lost it.
Yeah.
Um, you
Yeah.
know what was the saddest part of it all? It was in perfect mint condition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Did they
but
they mistreat it?
no, they didn't. The police did.
Oh God.
So
Yeah.
I'm a
Yeah.
completionist, and so for them to
Yeah.
write on the box with a Sharpie, like
Mm.
property 5649 or whatever, like
Hmm.
that killed me when I saw it like that. And they just put duct tape all over everything to close
Yeah.
it. I was like,
Yeah.
no.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, that's what hurt me the most.
Yeah. Oh, I think I shared with you. I had a very fractionally very small version of that happen to me, where I had a storage unit and I was storing a ton of
Hmm.
arcade and collective stuff that I've collected over my 35 years in the industry, and somebody broke into the storage unit and took it all. Um, and like you, they tried to sell it, but there was an alert out, and so they were successful to some extent, but not. I got some of it back, but I remember going to the police station, and it was just dumped in like a pile. What was left? They're like, "Can you just sift through it, and see what's yours?" Kind of thing, because it was all
Hmm.
intermingled with other things the guy had stolen. Um, so yeah, it is heartbreaking. You know, like
Yeah.
you've taken so much care in trying to treat this stuff, with reverence, and we don't want to even get fingerprints on it, and then it's
Mm.
I don't know. So I feel for you, my friend.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah,
you know, I love this stuff so much, right? And
yeah,
like I spent almost my whole life collecting all this stuff.
yeah,
And the one thing I did learn, the most surprising part was after it got stolen, of course, like I thought I was gonna have a heart attack, but I kind of got over it very fast.
really, yeah.
Yeah, I
Like
did.
it's just
And
stuff.
well, I kept thinking, yeah, people were like, it's just stuff. And I was like, yeah, people didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad and unfortunate. But I think I started to develop this thing where it's actually a burden having it.
Mm, mm-hmm.
So, like, I kind of want to hurry up and put it into the right hands now
Yeah,
because, like,
yeah,
uh, it's like watching a baby like 24/7.
yeah,
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 and after going through that, like I'm going to make sure it never happens again. So
yeah.
it is extremely secure now, right? And
Right.
so
Yeah,
it's a burden.
yeah.
Yeah.
So were you now like, now there's an urgency, right? Almost like to
Mhm.
figure out what to do with it. And I know you've had this dream or plan of opening a museum. Like where does that stand?
So I've been working with the group, and then they know the urgency now behind it too.
Yeah.
But I've actually met a few other museums and I've seen other ones, and everybody actually told me the same thing. It's a huge burden. I wouldn't want to wish this upon anybody else to have to uh, secure this stuff. And I was like, yeah, so what can I do? So I am trying to rush it.
Yeah.
But at least for the time being, the most important thing was to protect it.
Yeah.
So now we're going through extra steps to make sure it's like very safe and like uh, uh, stealing it is one thing, but also like it can't get damaged. And so
Yeah.
like to go back and replace parts on stuff that have been damaged. Yeah, I'm doing all that. But it's been hard for me because I'd say like our company was growing really fast for the past like 5 years. So I do need to focus on helping the team and
Yeah.
making helping the developers and our partners finish their games. And so I haven't been able to put too much attention into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just told everybody just make sure it's safe. I think
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Takes a lot of time and attention to keep that, you know,
Yeah.
to
And
curate and care for it and make sure it's okay, to your point.
and
Well,
it's a lot of stuff, so it's not like I'm holding one rare Michael Jordan or Charizard card or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like big
Yeah.
chunky chips that like the humidity can fry it and like yeah
The
like
sun can fade it,
yeah
the water can damage it.
mm,
An
it's
earthquake,
crazy.
could crush it. God, so many things.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Um, let's before I mean we're running out. I think we're running up against time. So I wanted to talk about. Let's turn back to PM Studios for a minute. Like,
mm,
what's currently what is on your day to day? What is on the roster? What are you working on? What can you talk about?
yeah.
Because I would love to know more what's on your roadmap and all of that.
Sure. So, I started to scale up and then we started to have like kind of new initiatives here. So one, I'm still developing games for myself.
Amazing.
And then also like doing work for hire still. So we do have three studios that are doing different things at any given time still. So I still help manage those and watch over it and yeah we try to make our own stuff and we recently made a game called Dragon is Dead and released that.
Mm-hmm.
um, the distribution business is really important because there's so much responsibility there because all these companies are relying on us, right? And
Yeah.
we got to make
Yeah.
sure they get paid on time, their games get released on time, and a lot of them don't know how to do this, and they don't
Yeah.
understand that
Market them.
manufacturing takes months, and then shipping takes
Yeah.
months, and like yeah, so and then we all like cool stuff too, so I got to help them do collector's editions and things like that, and that takes a year.
Yeah.
So that team is still doing its thing, and we have, like I said, over 100 games coming out this year. Most people don't know that we'll be a part of a lot of them, but I wish I can tell you some. There's some very secretive ones that are insanely shocking, I think, to kind of like the Black Myth level.
Amazing. Well, you'll have to come back on and talk about those when you can.
Yeah,
Then,
uh,
yeah.
hopefully it'll get announced soon. It's some of these games aren't even announced yet,
Yeah.
so that's why if I said anything, that I probably get in big trouble.
Right.
But there's some really cool
Love
things
it.
and partnerships, and I'm very fortunate. Again, I didn't push it upon them, but they said we would like to let people know that you did it. So I think you're gonna see that they make announcements that they did do it with us, and I'm really grateful to all these partners for that.
Amazing.
Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, so you'll see a lot of games there, and there will be a lot of surprises there still. Um, and then one of them was like Zenless Zone Zero is a
Mm-hmm.
good one. again, it showed that like we worked with HoYoverse on Honkai
Yep.
Star Rail, and then we were doing a follow up, and we hear a lot of Xbox fans saying, "Hey, we didn't get one," so I made sure we did Xbox and a PlayStation One for that product, and then a big initiative that we took 5 years ago was to do full stack publishing. So again, with our resources, like the industry's in a really bad slump. Games aren't getting funded, and it's been
Yep.
tough, right? So we
Yes.
have been backing up a lot of studios and fully investing into the development of the games. Some of them we just invested into them, and we believe in them self-publishing it, and then some of them we will take on as publisher, and some of them we will take on as like a co-publisher. And a few of them have gotten announced. So you probably saw like Bluey and
Mm-hmm.
Avatar and Hua 2. I think
Yep.
that was an important thing, was that uh, I wanted to make sure we still support the indies, right? And so like Hua was one of our first indie titles, and we're doing part two, and there's going to be a lot more indie games. But again, like we wanted to try new stuff, and I had a big thing where I had a goal to make licensed games the right way, and not to put anybody down, right? But it's like I have kids,
Right.
twins, and like
Yeah.
when we go to the store and they want to buy this, Cars game or this licensed game because they know the IP, I just don't want to buy it sometimes
Yeah.
because I know it's such a bad game.
They're
Uh,
cash grabs.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And licensed
Oh,
games were always like that, right? And
yeah.
so I
Absolutely.
told the team, I want to be like Batman Arkham Asylum. Like prior to Batman Arkham Asylum, every Batman game sucked, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like those guys really made it right. And after that game came out,
Yeah.
every licensed game was good, right?
They
Because they
raised the
knew
bar.
that, yeah, you really need to make a good game with the IP. And so Bluey and Avatar were the first two that like the genre should fit it. It should make sense, and we are
Yeah.
not going to exploit the IP. I want the kids to buy it and not play it for like 10 minutes. Like they should be able to keep playing it forever, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
like, I want my kids to play the Bluey game, and so,
Love it.
and I want to be able to platinum it too, not get bored of it. And so that was the goal. And so you'll probably see a lot more surprises like that from us in the coming months. And then we started to invest into like AA games too, and sometimes bigger. And I think the first one that was announced was called The God Slayer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
So
yep, we're going into slightly bigger ones, but again, so we're doing all this, and then with that, like we'll probably try to rebuild like the PM brand and show people that we do all these other things too, not just distribution.
I mean, you've got so much going on, and clearly a lot of good things, and I love it. I love to hear these stories, because there is so much like doom and gloom that kind of still that goes around. Every last couple of years, you feel like every year you're about to turn a corner, and then there's still more layoffs and game cancellations and game delays. So it's lovely to hear. That there are studios out there that are building really fun, exciting things, and that could help reinvigorate and get more people playing games and get more people buying games and seeing more innovative stuff out there. So I'm so glad to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, I
Thank
think
you.
the goal
So
is to make
I'm sorry, finish,
great
please.
games. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just got to make great games, right? And
yeah, yeah,
whatever genre, indie, AA license, like yeah, that's just our goal. And I think sometimes the industry is in a slump because like when the market opened up and is so big and everybody can make games, there's just so much crappy games out there
yeah,
that's
yeah,
flooding the market. Like it makes it difficult for everybody else who is trying, right? And so luckily, the communities are out there. Like if you do make a good game, like people come together and talk about it and help
yeah,
spread it. And
yeah.
yeah, we just need
That's
to
the
talk more.
power.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, game discoverability is such a huge problem. I mean, even on a more than on occasion, good games can get buried or not talked about because there's so much noise out there. But they do, it is true. The cream floats to the top, right? And so
Mhm.
if you make great games, people will find them and play them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So, okay, last question for you, my friend. I end every episode this way. The name of the show is Replay, and so I just want to ask you, if you could go back and replay one game, literally experiencing it completely fresh, like from scratch. Uh, do you have one that you would
Oh,
share?
that one, it's probably I have two.
Yeah,
So I'm always torn between these two.
I'll take
But
two. You can pick two.
okay,
It's
then
okay.
okay, that makes
Yeah,
it easier for me.
yeah.
It's Zelda Link to the Past and
Oh,
Super Metroid.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, classics, right? Both so good.
yeah.
Yeah.
Super Metroid was like exploring it all, right? And just like
Yeah.
every time it opens up, you're like, oh my God. But
Yeah.
that ending where like kind of the baby Metroid you saved kind of
Yeah.
comes back to help you. And when the first Metroid I played as a kid too, it's like they were the bad guys. And
Yeah.
then like you see something like this. It's the first time I've ever experienced like something so different like that where yeah, it was very special, that ending for me.
Yeah.
And then Zelda: A Link to the Past was like the first time I felt like, well, actually, a lot of games had great stories before, but I really thought like the story, like how you find these three things, and then you can uh, pull out the sword, and you got to go in between like the dark one. Like I just like it felt like the first time like the game had like a real world,
Yeah.
and so like I just was blown away by that. And then when I played it, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Both of them, I mean, such good choices. And I'm impressed that you whittled it down to two. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Um, Michael, where can people find PM Studios and how do they follow what you're building?
Sure. So you can follow us at like pm-studios.com, and my team just kind of rebooted that this year and rebranded it. So it has like things like blogs and like interviews, and I can sometimes write about something cool, right? Or the team will. And then like our socials, like Discord, Twitter, Blue Sky, Instagram. I'm not like on there as much,
Sure.
except Twitter, just to explore, game collections and stuff like
Yep.
that. And then
Awesome.
we've also built a social platform called Panix Games, and really it's hopefully the future for our company. It is a community discoverability video game platform that kind of connects gamers and developers and everything together. And I do plan to like put a lot more of my efforts into growing that part of this company, because I think that's the most important thing for me, which is like the games, right? And so a video game network that does it all is my goal. Yeah.
What is that called again? Would you share that
Panic
again?
Games, Panax, and then games.com. And
Okay.
really, the everybody's like, how did you come up with that name? And it took a long time to convince the team. Um, so we have all these different people that work here, and I've experienced so many gamers, right? And everybody's always fighting over the platforms, right? And
Yeah.
so like PlayStation guys hate the Xbox guys, Xbox
Right.
guys like,
Yeah.
so I always like, even at our team would always say it should be about the game. Who cares about the platform or where you play it on? And so I thought of I always wanted to do something with acronyms too. So it originally stood for PlayStation and Nintendo and Xbox. And the A's were really important because it was like the ands, right?
Right. Yep.
And then if you really wanted to, you can also say like PC if it's the P, Apple and Android as the A's, and that would
Nice.
be all
It
the platforms.
works. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Neo Geo, Atari, like all the platforms that we know of is kind of in those letters. So we call it Panix. Yeah.
Wow, I feel like we didn't even scratch the surface really on our chat. So will you come back for
Yeah.
a second episode? I would love to talk more about that, frankly.
Hopefully the next
Yeah,
time everybody sees all our reveals, and it will be a very different, I think.
conversation.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
our company will probably change a lot in a couple months after everybody sees all these reveals. And it'll be very interesting. I go
Amazing.
through new struggles, and that's
Right.
the next part of it. Yeah.
So many stories and so many struggles.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you so much for joining today. I really appreciate your time and getting to chat with you. So thank you very much, and looking forward to further conversation.
Thanks, Greg, and I'm really honored to be a part of your show here. Thank you.
I appreciate it.